You didn't lose your friends to a fight. You didn't lose them to distance or betrayal or some dramatic falling out that you could at least point to and say, that's where it happened. You lost them to a Saturday night when you just didn't feel like going. And then another one. And then it became who you are. It's a Friday. Your phone lights up. A message in the group chat. Someone's organizing something. A dinner, a night out, a casual get-together at someone's apartment. Nothing extravagant. Just people in a room being alive together. You read it. You put the phone down. You tell yourself you'll respond in a minute. The minute passes. Then an hour. By the time you pick the phone back up, the plans have been made without your input because everyone who knows you has learned not to wait for your input. You type, sounds fun, might try to swing by. You will not swing by. You already know that. And somewhere, so do they. You put on something comfortable. You find something to watch. The evening passes warmly, quietly, in the way that evenings do when you've arranged your life to require nothing from you. And it feels fine. That's the part nobody warns you about. It feels completely, genuinely fine. Here's what you don't let yourself see all at once. The birthday dinner 3 months ago. You said you weren't feeling well. You were fine. You were just tired. And tired felt close enough to sick to use as an excuse without guilt. The road trip that got planned in the group chat last summer. You said maybe. Maybe has a particular quality. It lets everyone, including yourself, believe you might show up while quietly reserving your right not to. You didn't go. The photos looked incredible. You liked them from your couch. The concert, someone bought you a ticket, an actual, physical, someone thought of you ticket. You bailed 2 hours before. You said something came up. Nothing came up. The couch was warm and the night was cold, and the math felt simple. The spontaneous thing, the last-minute plan, the we're all going, just come invitation, the kind that requires no preparation and no commitment beyond just showing up with your body. You said next time, next time, next time, next time. You have said next time so many times that the word has lost its meaning. It was never a promise. It was a way to decline without closing a door. Except doors, if you never walk through them, eventually stop being doors. They just become walls. And you built a lot of walls while telling yourself they were doors. Nobody left dramatically. That's what you need to understand about how this works. There was no confrontation. No moment where someone sat you down and said you never show up, and we're done. People are rarely that honest, and friendships rarely end that cleanly. What happened was quieter, and in some ways, much worse. The invites got spaced out, not immediately, gradually, the way daylight changes between seasons. You don't notice it happening. You just notice one day that the light is different. Someone stopped tagging you in things, not out of anger, just out of accuracy. Because tagging you created an expectation that had stopped being realistic. The group chat got quieter when you were the one who hadn't responded. Not because you were missed, but because everyone had learned to plan around your absence. Your presence had become the variable. Everyone else was the constant. And then one day, a regular day, nothing special about it, you realize you haven't heard from one of them in months. You scroll back through the conversation. You're looking for the last time one of you reached out. It was you, actually. A meme, 6 months ago. They reacted with an emoji. That was the last thing. And you sit with that for a moment. The specific weight of a friendship that didn't end. It just ran out of reasons to continue. Because reasons need to be made. And you stopped making them. And after a while, they did too. You see it on a Sunday morning. You're scrolling. The mindless kind, not looking for anything. And there they are. Photos from last night. The people you know, or used to know, at some event you didn't attend. Maybe weren't even invited to anymore. And they look not happier than you, that's not quite it. They look present, lit up in the specific way that people look when they're somewhere doing something, with others who showed up. You zoom in slightly. Faces you recognize. Some you don't. New people. People they've met in the time you've been absent. People who exist in their lives now because those people said yes when you were saying next time. There's a comment thread underneath. An inside joke. A reference to something that happened that night. Some small, ridiculous moment that became a memory. You weren't there for it. You weren't there for the one before it either. And the uncomfortable thing, the thing that lands somewhere low in your chest, is that the photos don't look like they're missing anyone. The frame is full. They adjusted. Here is the part nobody says out loud. You knew. Every single time you declined, some part of you felt it. A small, quiet signal. Like a light on a dashboard that you learned to ignore. You felt it when you typed the excuse. You felt it when you heard the notifications from the night you skipped, still coming through. You felt it when you woke up the next morning and the first thing you did was check what you'd missed. You knew it wasn't tiredness. Not really. Tiredness is real, but this wasn't that. This was something softer and more honest than tiredness. This was the knowledge that going required something from you. Energy, presence, the willingness to be seen in real time by real people, and that staying required nothing. And nothing when you're depleted feels like everything. So you chose nothing. Over and over and over. Not out of malice, not out of laziness exactly. Out of a quiet, understandable, deeply human preference for the path that asked the least of you. The problem is that the people in your life were not nothing. They were something. And something, if you keep choosing against it, eventually gets the message. You probably think of comfort as neutral. A resting state. The absence of difficulty. But comfort has a cost that doesn't show up on the bill right away. It's billed later. In the currency of what didn't happen. The memories that don't exist. The depth that never developed in relationships that stayed surface level. Because depth requires time and time requires showing up. And showing up was the one thing you kept not doing. Comfort kept you safe from the awkward moment at the party. It also kept you from the conversation that would have changed something. Comfort kept you from the cold walk to the venue. It also kept you from the night you'd still be talking about 10 years later. Comfort is not the reward. In this story, in your story, comfort was the thing that slowly, quietly, without ever announcing itself, took everything. Not dramatically, not all at once, just consistently. Every Friday, every declined invite, every next time that never came. Comfort was there for all of it, and it never once warned you about the price. At some point, you stopped noticing the invites becoming less frequent. Because when something disappears gradually, there's no moment to grieve. There's no before and after. There's just a slow dimming, like a screen on low battery, until one day you look up and the room is darker than you remember, and you can't say exactly when the light changed. 3 years pass like that. 5. You have a life. It functions. It has routines and comforts and the particular piece of a person who has arranged things to require very little. But you haven't been somewhere unexpected in years. You haven't done something that made a story in years. You haven't been in a room full of people who were glad you came. Specifically you, not just a warm body filling a seat. And felt that specific thing, that irreplaceable thing, that can only happen when you are somewhere real with people who know you. You traded that. For nothing in particular. For the default, for the easier evening. For the version of yourself that needed less. Imagine yourself older, not ancient, just older. Enough that the body moves differently and the options have quietly narrowed and the phone doesn't buzz the way it used to. You're sitting somewhere familiar. The same apartment maybe, or somewhere like it. And you're going through old photos. The way people do when they're older, and the past feels more navigable than the present. You find them. The people, the faces, the ones who invited you over and over, with a patience you didn't deserve and eventually exhausted. You see the trip you didn't go on, the birthday you skipped, the night they all went and you stayed home and watched something you can't even remember now. And you understand, in the way you can only understand things when there's no longer anything to be done about them, that those were not small moments. They were the moments. The ordinary, undramatic, completely missable moments that accumulated over years, become the texture of a life. The inside jokes, the 2 a.m. conversations, the shared history that makes a person feel known. You miss them, not because life took them from you, because you were home, you were comfortable, and the door was always open. You just never walked through it. The saddest thing isn't that you were never invited. The saddest thing is that you were. Almost every time. And the person who kept saying no was you.